Season's greetings from New York City. America's symbol of freedom stands watch over the harbor within view of the Downtown Athletic Club. The home of the Heisman sits silently tonight in Lower Manhattan. Its lobby served as shelter and triage center September 11th. But the tradition of honoring college football greatness built in this room over the decades continues proudly tonight in Times Square, crossroads of the world, right in the heart of holiday hustle and bustle at the Marriott Marquis Hotel. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the finalists for the 2001 Heisman Trophy. Nebraska's tough-running senior Eric Crouch, 1,000+ on the ground this year, a record 59 career rushing touchdowns, 35 wins as a starter. Miami junior Ken Dorsey, crafty director of the Hurricanes, highest scoring offense ever. Rose Bowl bound with a sparkling career mark of 25 victories, 1 loss. Florida sophomore Rex Grossman, the nation's top-rated passer and leader in total offense. The gifted Gator has 10 300-yard games this season. And Joey Harrington, the clutch senior leader of Pac-10 champion Oregon. 3 more fourth-quarter comeback wins this season, boosting his career total to 9. 4 born quarterbacks finalists in alphabetical order for the 67th Heisman Memorial Trophy. Good evening and welcome. I'm Chris Fowler. All of us at ESPN certainly proud to bring you the Heisman Trophy presentation presented by Wendy's for an 8th season. In this room, in this hour, one of these 4 guys is going to join this fraternity of legends represented in this room tonight by so many great past winners. Which one of them? You'd just be guessing. It's going to be real close. Now, none of them ever sought or focused on this little bronze beauty right over here, but just by being themselves, by being team leaders, by being winners, they have each built very strong cases. This is a dramatic chapter in a college football season that has consistently surprised and amazed us. It's been a great pleasure to share it with my colleagues, Michelle Tafoya, Lee Corso, and Kirk Herbstreit.
Well, Chris, all 4 of these guys obviously have had outstanding seasons. That's why they're here in New York City. And you look at them, and they all have their own unique attributes that make them outstanding quarterbacks. But at the same time, they have a common bond. And I think it's a bond that probably their teammates respect the most about them. And that's their leadership qualities and the ability to win big games. And, Coach, the reason they're here beyond the stats is the intangibles, and they're all quarterbacks, and that's what it takes to be a great one.
And Kirk, all 4 of these quarterbacks come from different parts of our country. Each of them have a unique personality, and most important, each of them played within a different system, but still starred. But they have one thing in common: they're all winners. The combined record of these quarterbacks this year is 41 wins and 4 losses. They won 91% of the time they started football games. And Michelle, today and tonight we honor 4 of the best football players in the nation, but they're all terrific guys.
Well, as you both said, these 4 have very similar attributes on the football field, but away from the game, they are as different as the offenses they run. And tonight, we're going to hear their stories, meet a few of their family members, and Chris, learn a little bit more about what makes these guys tick.
Well, Michelle, the Heisman criteria is certainly vague, and it's intentionally so. Most outstanding player. That makes for a nice debate between the 924 eligible voters. Media and former winners divided equally into 6 geographic regions. Many believe that regional voting will play a large role in the selection between these favorite sons tonight. First place votes receive 3 points, 2 points for second, 1 for third. This year, with the season's schedule kind of rearranged, about 90% of the ballots were received this week after the games of December 1st. So, a couple seniors, a junior, and a sophomore. Team guys to the core, but competitive. They've gotten along really well, but they want that trophy. Who wouldn't when you get this close to it? First up, we'll meet the pride of Portland, Joey Harrington, on his defining moment as a quarterback, his first recruiting letter, his family, his role model, and at the piano. Well, this summer, a pretty shocking sight. 12 blocks south of here, a jolly green giant introducing Midtown Manhattan to the pride of Portland, Oregon, and to Oregon Ducks football. Joey, I promise it's the last time we'll show that billboard. That's just one 10-story reason why perhaps Joey Harrington had to perform this season under more pressure and scrutiny than any player. But then again, no one could ever put more pressure on Joey than Joey. He is driven, he's emotional. This guy's stomach is churning from August to January. But between the lines on Saturday, he becomes Joey the General, the commander.
Confidence in crunch time. It radiates, absorbed by teammates who know when number 3's got the look. It is trust well earned with work ethic, then cemented with superb performance under pressure and keen sense of the ticking clock.
Here goes Harrington, throwing, touchdown, Oregon.
Harrington's big arm delivers the deep or demanding throws the Ducks scheme requires. His secret, nimble, instinctive footwork. The Northwest native laughs off the wind and wetness most QBs dread. Against Oregon State, 3rd and long, 395 double post, a strike down the middle, defining moment in the game-winning drive, a Harrington signature. With 74 career touchdowns, he's among the top producers in Pac-10 history, doing it in far fewer starts, with a record of 24 wins, 3 losses.
Joey Harrington.
November 14th, 1978.
Len Casanova sent us a letter of congratulations when Joey was about 2 weeks old. And it was written in kind of that recruiting language.
Hoping to hear from you in about 17 years.
If you're a Harrington, you're a quarterback. You grow up with the football in your hand.
Joey used to be my son. Now I'm his father, which is okay.
John was a senior when I was a freshman. He was a competitor, wasn't a real big guy, but fought hard. Joey's a lot bigger. He's about 6 inches taller than his dad, but I think the scrambling ability and the heart set an example for his son.
Dad's my role model. I've learned more than I even realized from my father. If I can be like my dad when I'm older, that would be the greatest compliment in the entire world. Dad, and my family especially, has always been very football. Mom was always very, adamant that we have something else in our lives. So, I gotta thank Mom for that.
Now, family is so important. The Harrington family takes a bus to each Oregon home game. Dozens of relatives and some friends. And Bernie Harrington, Joey's granddad, one of those guys, he fought in the Pacific in World War II, heard from some of his old Navy buddies. They'd seen his famous grandson on TV, hadn't heard from some of these guys in more than a half century. Just one more reason to treasure a famous grandson. Michelle is with the general of the Joey Harrington Family Bus Brigade.
That's right, John Harrington, Joey's father, is joining us. You do drive that bus. When you saw that piece, and you hear your son say something as poignant as, if I could grow up to be what my father is, that would be the greatest compliment I could ever have. What does that do to you?
Well, it certainly strikes a chord. Yeah, it makes it all worthwhile. It really does. And I think my wife Valerie and I said a long time ago that if he never took another snap, we'd be extremely proud of him for what he's done to this point in his life.
Well, he gives you a lot of credit for having taken the pressure off. We saw the billboard earlier and all the Heisman hype that came at the beginning of this season, the national championship talk. And he said, I was able to enjoy college this year because my dad took the burdens off me. Give us some insight. What were some of the things you did to help?
Well, I think the most important thing for Joe was that he just really wanted to be a college senior. And I think that was extremely important to all of us. And I think it's important to realize that these are just kids that are playing the college game. They're big and strong and fast kids, but they're still kids. And so we tried to do everything we could as a family to let him focus on being a college student and a football player at the University of Oregon and keep a lot of the pressure of the people who would like to be maybe a little closer part of that than we would like until maybe a little later, maybe a week after the last bowl game.
Well, obviously, when your son is so grateful, you can take that as a job well done. Thanks for joining us. And right now, Joey is with Kirk.
Well, Joey, it's been talked about all year, to the point where I'm sure you're well tired of it. One last question about the billboard. Was it an enjoyable ride to get here, and did you feel pressure to try to live up to all that hype that was created with the billboard?
It was fun. I mean, I'll tell you right now, it was a blast. How many people can say they had a chance to see themselves 10 stories tall in downtown Manhattan? Something you can tell your grandkids. But I love the pressure. That's why I play college football. That's why I play this game. Put the pressure on my back. Put the ball in my hands. I want to perform, under that microscope. And so I think it just kind of added to my whole senior season.
I talked to you all year about the Oregon State game, and after the game last year, you got them back home in Eugene. Can you put into words what it meant to walk off that field in Autzen Stadium the last time as a winner against Oregon State?
It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Growing up in the state of Oregon and knowing that I'm most likely going to spend the remainder of my life there, I've made a pact with some of my buddies to move back to the same neighborhood. I can go home knowing that my senior year, I beat Oregon State, and nobody can take that away from me. The last time I went out, I won. I walked off the field a winner, so you know, I've got bragging rights for the rest of my life.
Probably as much as any athlete that I've ever had a chance to get to know, you just flat out enjoy college football. Not only your team and your conference, but all across the country. You enjoy the whole college experience. What is it about the college experience that you've enjoyed the most?
That's tough. You know,
Be good now.
Number one, I love playing with the team. I love being part of that family. I love being in Autzen Stadium. You know, Lee says it's the loudest crowd, you know, person for person in the country. I love going to the basketball games. We've got a group, the Matt Court Mullets. We sit in the third row of the student section and kind of lead the crowd. It's just a fun, young, friendly atmosphere in college. You know, you get a chance to really live with, you know, I don't want to say without responsibilities, but it's a chance to be young and learn about yourself and hang out with your friends. I live with 5 of my best friends in the world, and, you know, it's a chance that doesn't come around very often.
Well, it's been a treat for all of us to follow you at Oregon. Good luck with everything.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Chris?
You know, Kirk, there's a high compliment, too, in that opponents in the Pac-10 had to game plan around giving the ball back to Joey and Oregon late. That's how much they feared his clutch ability. A UCLA game is an example of that. One guy can certainly game plan with the best of them. He doesn't know fear either. Steve Spurrier won the Heisman in 1966. Coach Danny Werfel of the Heisman 30 years later. But the ball coach has never had a sophomore quarterback like Rex Grossman, and Fearless describes him too. The deeper story behind all the monstrous numbers when we continue from Times Square after this. Higher, faster than Rex Grossman's. It's a very rare sophomore, you know, good enough to contend for a Heisman. None, of course, have won it. 1992, Marshall Faulk dazzled with his runs. Really carried San Diego State onto the national stage, but couldn't quite catch Miami's Gino Torretta, who won the Heisman in 1992. Herschel Walker, he kind of gave it a run, too, as a sophomore. The last sophomore quarterback to come close, Angelo Bertelli, 2 years before he won it as a senior. All but Faulk in this group went on to win the Heisman later in their careers. But then again, precocious is what Grossman has always been ever since his first play in Pee Wee football. It was a touchdown. Now, T.D. Rex grew up in the Midwest admiring Brett Favre for his free spirit. When it came time for a college, he wanted a place where he'd be pushed, prodded, and verbally pummeled to achieve his vast potential. He picked the perfect school long before it picked him.
Rex struggled tonight. He made some bad throws the other day.
He put that ball right on the mark.
Rex Grossman, sophomore quarterback, University of Florida. I don't know if Coach Spurrier is the eternal pessimist, but I know that myself, I am an optimist. I always think we can score in the next play.
Rex's style is to throw the deep ball every chance he can. If he's playing basketball, he'll come down and stop the three-point line and shoot the three. And in baseball, every time he goes up to the plate, he's swinging for the fence, trying to hit a home run.
My first play that I was involved in football, I was playing fullback at the time.
And we called a dive left, very first play. And he dove left and ran 60 yards for a touchdown. He really wants to enjoy life.
You know, I just like to have fun. I like you know, balance in my life. I like to work hard, and I like to play hard as well.
Fires a deep ball down the field. Touchdown! Are you kidding me?
Watch him throw one time. That's all it takes. Rex Grossman may be laid back, but his talent as a passer screams at you. His bulky right arm whipping forward, the football exploding from his hand, tightly spun, darting downfield. Firing from all angles, off balance, on the run, on target. His instinct for improvisation makes Rex a truly gifted playmaker. The sophomore is still mastering the minutiae of the Spurrier system, but looking off a safety one way, throwing a strike another has become a Grossman signature. This laser for 64, the school record 464 yards against LSU. No team ranked as high as the Gators has ever had a quarterback throw for more yards per game. And Grossman is the first since Steve Young to lead the nation in both total offense and passing efficiency.
And no one's ever had more touchdown passes or a better passing rating through a sophomore season. Of course, there is somewhere Rex would rather be tonight than right here. There's a ball game down in Atlanta, but that's just more fuel for next season when, Lee, these next two gentlemen fully expect Rex to improve even more.
You know, Coach Steve Spurrier is with us now, and 60 years ago, Angelo Bertella became the only sophomore quarterback ever to get ranked in the top 3 in the Heisman Trophy race. What strengths does Rex Grossman bring here tonight that he has a chance to match or exceed Angelo Bertelli?
Lee, Rex is probably the most pure passer I think we've had there at Florida. Shane Matthews and Danny Warfel certainly were outstanding players, and of course Danny won the Heisman back in '96. But Rex is a natural. He's a natural passer, and we've known that for a long time. And I think Rex really appreciates me getting on him a little bit when he could play better. And that's just my style of coaching. If I'm going to yell to left guard and the right tackle and the linebacker, I got to yell to quarterback also. So he knows that. And that's, we're constantly just trying to push our guys to be the best they can be. And Rex has really improved. He's probably, I'm sure, the only one of these 4 candidates that started this season in a fight for the quarterback position. Yeah. He had to earn it in preseason, which he did. And then he just really, I think, improved tremendously as the season progressed.
You know, Danny, what qualities do you think you instilled in your son to get him where he is tonight?
Lee, Rex is a born optimist. I'd like to take credit for his outstanding optimistic attitude and his self-confidence. But Maureen and I think, did instill in him a mental toughness. He's, as you saw maybe last week in that game against Tennessee, under adversity, he's tough, mentally and physically, and I think that's his outstanding trait.
Steve, Rex is confident, he has a unique individual, sounds like you, has a strong personality, just like you. How do you manage this relationship?
Oh, Lee, we have an excellent quarterback-coach relationship. All my guys have, to tell you the truth. Sometimes it gets overplayed a little bit because I'm a little more demonstrative maybe on the sideline than most head coaches. But that's just the way I do it, and our players know it. And they know I yell at everybody, so I'm not picking out the quarterback. But I also praise our guys when it's natural and when they deserve it also. But to me, that's just coaching, you know, trying to push them to be the best they can be all the time. But Rex, he accepts the criticism and the praise, and he's just trying to be the best he can be and trying to improve game after game, week after week.
Kirk, you get to talk to a kid from Bloomington, Indiana.
All right. You've had, obviously, both gentlemen have had a big influence on your life. Go back and think about being a child and your father pushing you. Now you have Coach Spurrier pushing you. Is this kind of a presence that you enjoy or need?
Yeah, it definitely helps me out a lot. My dad coached me from, you know, ever since I was about, 2 feet tall to, to 6th grade. So, and it's really pushed me to play as well as I can. And I think Coach Spurrier has taken that, from high school into the college ranks and really just, pushes me to be the best I can be, and I appreciate that.
The thing about Coach Spurrier's offense, since he's been in Gainesville, it's been a scoring machine. You're one of the few young quarterbacks to be able to settle into that system and put up some big numbers. What do you think the secret is behind this offense? What's the most challenging aspect of the offense?
Well, it's just a fun offense to play with, and you got great players, Jabbar Gaffney, Rashae Caldwell just playing great. And then, every Monday we come in with our new game plan, and Coach Spurrier's just got these awesome plays, and we're all excited about running them on Saturday. So it's just a matter of having a good week of practice and putting what you do in practice in on Saturday.
All right, congratulations on a big year.
Thank you.
Good luck to you. Chris?
Look forward to watching Rex's development in the future. We want to send warm wishes to the very first Heisman Trophy winner, Jay Berwanger in Chicago, not feeling tip-top shape. Jay, get well soon. Happy birthday to George Rogers, a member of this Heisman fraternity. And coming up, we'll salute both the gold and silver anniversary Heisman winners, Dick Kazmaier, the last Heisman winner from the Ivy League, and Tony Dorsett. My God, has it been 25 years. 11 straight tailbacks won the Heisman from 73 to 83. The Sooners' number 20 out of Hooks, Texas, Billy Sims, averaging almost 7 yards per carry. A great season, but a very close race. He edged Chuck Fusina at Penn State by 77 points with 12 fewer first-place votes. That's very rare. The closest top 5 finish ever. You see the candidates are balanced regionally. That could be a factor tonight. So many great candidates around the country makes this race very, very difficult. Not just these 4 quarterbacks here, but also other guys who had outstanding seasons. Indiana's Antoine Randall L. concluding a brilliant career, completing one of the best statistical careers in history, while leading the Hoosiers to 4 wins in 4 of the last 5 games. Multi-talented threat. David Carr, only the 6th player ever with 4,000 passing yards and 40 touchdown passes in a single season. In the process, he led Fresno State to the top 10 of the polls for the very first time. You know, 50 years ago, there was a triple threat, 170-pound back. He won the Heisman Trophy in a landslide a month after gracing the cover of Time. He shared the great number 42 at Princeton with legend Bill Bradley. 25 years ago, another landslide. 4-time All-American. His rushing record stood for more than a couple of decades. Our anniversary Heisman winners are with Michelle.
Indeed, I'm with Dick Kazmaier and Tony Dorsett. I remember when he said, boy, can you believe it's been 25 years? You shook your head. 50 years, you must be shaking your head twice as hard. Yes. You've watched a lot of football in that time. You said you're a fan, and you just don't stop watching. I know the game has changed an awful lot since you played 50 years ago, but has it come full circle at all? Do you see players or teams out there that remind you of the way that you played back at Princeton?
Not really, because we were in a single wing formation, and there are no more single wings available. So that's one thing that's different. And then they're so much bigger and stronger and faster, and I think better, really. So it's quite a different game, but it's still pleasurable. It's still college football.
Indeed. Tony, you know, a lot of players are reluctant to say, I want to win the Heisman. I want that trophy. But I think back after you became freshman All-America, that was what you wanted. You wanted the Heisman Trophy. What was it about it what did it represent to you as a young college football player?
Well, of course, when you win the Heisman Trophy, it's symbolic of you being the best collegiate football player of that year. And as an athlete, we all consider ourselves champions, and we all want to be the best at what we do, if not the best, one of the best at what we do. And of course, winning the Heisman Trophy exemplifies that. So that's why I wanted to be a recipient of that award.
Chris referenced the 10-year span of all running backs dominating the award. Lately, there's been a glut of quarterbacks. So, Tony, I ask you, where have all the running backs gone?
Oh, they'll be back. Just stay tuned. They're not going. They're not far away. But this was a great year for the quarterback. There's no question about it. And my hat off to every one of these guys that are here tonight. They're all very deserving of this award. Whoever the winner is going to be joining a very elite fraternity, and we're going to welcome him.
A very elite fraternity. Dick Kazmaier, you've represented it so well. I know you'll have some great words of wisdom to tonight's winner about how to represent this very exclusive club. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. Congratulations on the anniversary. Chris?
Indeed. These guys will receive their Heisman anniversary rings at a banquet here Monday night. All right, now from living legends to some role models of the future. Last night, Wendy's Restaurants, the Downtown Athletic Club, and the National Association of Secondary School Principals had a ceremony to present the Wendy's High School Heisman. There were 12 finalists, 6 male, 6 female. They were selected from more than 12,600 nominations nationwide. The students had to be seniors and had to maintain a B average. They also had to excel in a sanctioned high school sport and demonstrate dedicated community service. And joining us now, the 2 high school Heisman winners, Paul Corsello, Pittsburgh Mendel High School in Pittsburgh, New York, and Megan May, Hanley High School in Roanoke, Alabama. When we come back to New York City, we'll visit with a Miami quarterback trying to follow the legacy that includes Gino Torretta. There have been 2 Hurricane quarterbacks with perfect regular seasons, went on to win Heisman trophies. Might Ken Dorsey be the 3rd tonight? We'll continue after this. Journey from California to Miami. He orchestrates the amazingly talented offense of the Miami Hurricanes. Next stop, back to California for the Rose Bowl. Certainly a strong theme of all 4 of these finalists tonight. The journey here has been the dedication of family members. Devotion that takes many forms, like Adam Dorsey proudly wearing Miami colors as he goes to class at Florida State, and Maggie Dorsey making a 5-day cross-country journey in a motorhome, stopping frequently to bottle feed a couple of baby kittens. Michelle, that is devotion.
To the kittens as well, but certainly to her son, Maggie Dorsey, joining us now. What a trek that is, that you make it every year to be close to both of your sons. Right. I think you get to spend a little bit more time in Miami, but what is it about that is so important to you to be with Ken?
Well, when Kenny made the decision to go across country, he knew it was going to be a tough decision to make, to be away from family. And we decided that that was not going to happen, that we would spend as much time as we possibly could. And that was one of the reasons why Adam decided to go to Florida State. Was it because he started going to Kenny's games from sophomore in high school, and he's been able to continue that?
That's pretty incredible family closeness. Ken has described himself as the Holiday Inn guy, the guy that lays around the house all day and does nothing. And yet I know that you see the cerebral side of him, the strategist in him.
Yes.
There's a story you like to tell about a camping trip where that cerebral strategist came out. Tell us about that.
Oh, it was wonderful. We were camping, the three of us, Adam, Kenny, and myself. And Adam went off to another campsite to play guitar and for the girls in the other campsite. And so it was left Kenny and I. Adam went off. And all of a sudden I said, Kenny, you know, I really understand the basics of football, but I don't quite understand the positions. You know, what's the fullback? What's the tailback? What? And he said, well, Mom, it's simple. So in the ashes, he kind of took a stick and he started saying, well, this is this position, this, and he's drawing his X's and O's. And as he's drawing his X's and O's, he's saying, now, if this position did this, this guy could do this, and all of a sudden he's saying, hey, that would be a good play, then this guy could do this. And he was doing a John Madden in the ashes, and it was the light in his eyes that it was truly a love, a passion. And what more could a parent want?
Clearly you have that for your sons. Keep the telestrator away from him, Chris.
And Maggie gassed up the motorhome because it's back to Pasadena, kind of a dreamlike finish to any California quarterback's junior season, playing in the Rose Bowl for a national championship, especially for a student of football history. On sunny South Florida days, Ken Dorsey's the guy in the dark, studying the film. He rarely leaves the borders of the campus. In a very high-profile position, he is low ego. He's the kind of skilled quarterback that's really only fully appreciated after he's gone.
He is Dorsey the distributor, managing Miami's balanced and brilliantly gifted attack. A superb decision maker, delivering the football to the right man in the right spot at the precise moment. With unsurpassed passion for preparation, unteachable feel, Dorsey is the Hurricanes' calm eye, seeing and sensing all around him. But when challenged, he reveals a feisty, competitive inner core, rewarding teammates' strong, unwavering faith in him. At hostile Florida State, a Dorsey signature, instantly converting takeaway to touchdown with a beautifully threaded pass between 4 defenders. Dorsey is at his best against Miami's best opponents. Creating points and avoiding mistakes is measured in the only stat he covets, touchdown to interception ratio, where he's already outdone the career numbers of the Canes' proud quarterback pantheon, with far more TDs and the fewest picks.
Here's Kozar, back to throw.
Kelly, into the middle. Walsh goes for the ball. Quick snap.
Testaverde lofting it to the end zone. Touchdown.
History means a lot to me, and it's very important because you learn so much from history, and especially here. And what makes it even more special is the close relationship I have with those other guys. It's kind of like a family, you know. It's like I've got my real family here with my mom, dad, my brother, and then kind of my other family with you know, Gino, Steve, and Bernie. And it's so great because it's like we're just a bunch of brothers, and you know, I've my older brothers, and you know, I'm just trying to live up to their expectations. When I broke Steve's touchdown record, the thing he told me was, congratulations. Just to watch the way they handle it, I don't know how they do it because I know how competitive they are. And if it were me and you know, some young kid came in and started breaking my records and stuff like that, I'd be mad.
Are you mad, Mr. Toretta? Because it's a cinch. He only needs 1,500 more yards next season to break your career passing record.
He's got one more win.
Yeah, okay. Remember, though, when you check Ken's stats, he's only played in the fourth quarter 3 times this year with Miami dominating. The Holiday Inn guy, you got to mess up his hair, Kirk. He's over there.
Well, I think we can all relate to Ken. You have a special place in your heart for your mom. I think we all do. Your mom's dedication and support for you This has to be in this night with her here.
Well, it means so much to me, not only her, but my entire family, because I came all the way across the country to go to school, and just the fact that they take time out of their schedules and their busy lives to come visit me, it means so much to me.
You grew up in the Pac-10. You're familiar with the Rose Bowl. It's got a little bit of a different twist this year. How nice is it going to be to go back home and play in the granddaddy of them all for a national title?
That's going to mean a lot to me, because I grew up watching the Rose Bowl games, and you know, I told the guys that they're not going to truly appreciate it until they're there, till they experience the events and just the pageantry of the Rose Bowl, and it's going to be something special for everybody.
Lee, he seems like a nice guy, but don't let these looks fool you. I've seen him mix it up out in the field quite a bit. Let's go back.
I can remember him beating Florida State. Hello. Larry, you've been quoted as saying that you would not be going to the Rose Bowl without Ken Dorsey. Why?
I firmly believe that, Lee, because we talked about with our team that our preparation, really 75% of it was done before August practice started. And as you know, college football coaches can't work with the players during the summer. Ken made the receivers. We lost 4 first-round draft choices. Ken brought the receivers along. They worked extremely hard during the summer, got better each day. He spreads the ball around so well. He makes everybody around him much, much better.
You know, Ken says he'd like to be a football coach someday when he leaves Miami. What kind of football coach do you think he'll make?
Oh, he'll be a terrific football coach. I've encouraged him to do this, to go to the NFL, make a lot of money, and then he can choose whatever he wants. He can coach junior high football, just relax and enjoy the game.
And listen, let me tell you something. There's nothing better in the world than being a football coach, Ken Dorsey. Chris Fowler, it's your turn.
Now, we've seen that feisty side, too. You're right, Kirk. And in practice, he'll go right at the Canes' very talented defensive backs, guys like Ed Reed and Phillip Buchanan, future NFL players, goes right at them, challenges them, makes them better, and then he enjoys a little friendly needling in case he can beat those guys. We've meeten 3 of the 4 finalists. Up next, Eric Crouch, the native-born Nebraskan, who has symbolized the excellence of Cornhusker football in recent seasons. We come back on Heisman Trophy Night in New York City. As the hour approaches. You know, Johnny the Jet Rogers in '72, Mike Bergier 11 years later, both carried Heisman trophies back to Nebraska. Both those guys won it with their wheels, of course, but it's been a very rare Heisman quarterback whose legacy has been built with his legs. Got to go back decades. You know, Staubach, Gary Beeben, maybe Terry Baker. None of those guys, none of them had Eric Crouch's 4.47 electronically timed 40. I can promise you that. But then Eric's qualities as a player and a person grow way beyond his great wheels. He is doting father, statewide hero, and international ambassador to the Cornhusker Nation.
And Nebraska has won its second consecutive national championship. He's all the way home. Nebraska wins it in overtime. A miracle finish.
Everyone wants to be a Nebraska quarterback here. I mean, you grow up as a little kid, you want to be a Nebraska quarterback. It's kind of amazing, you know, just the fact maybe walking into a room where someone's laying in the bed and is kind of sick and they just got off of a major operation, and they turn around and their face lights up and they have this big smile on their face. And I personally never thought that I'd have that effect on someone based on what I did for fun.
Sometimes I think players can grow into that role of really wanting to give back. But Eric didn't need to grow into it. He was that way once he showed up here at the University of Nebraska.
His daughter's name just brings a big old smile to his face. When I come home after the game, she's, you know, she says a lot of things about, you know, I missed you, Daddy, and she doesn't even know I played a football game. I know that, you know, I'm thinking about her all the time, and maybe there's a newfound way of going out there and playing football. You know, there's a lot more to play for.
The hits kept coming. 1,000-plus body blows, starting in his career debut when tissue was ripped in his right shoulder. Through 3 seasons and 2 surgeries, Crouch suffered silently, slept sparingly, never made an excuse or missed a snap. Credit a physique carved with iron, and more essentially, a steel strong will. Crouch delivers and even receives whatever it takes to win. As a healthy senior, a live arm complements flawless instincts, slicing split-second cuts, and pure speed. At Missouri, 3rd and 8, 59 out is the pass call, but Crouch must escape a tackle and a safety. Zigzag to daylight, juke, slash, accelerate, and he's gone. But the memory will last forever. End zone to eternal signature Eric Crouch moment. Nebraska's longest run ever is one of his 61 career touchdowns, most in Husker history, and in the company of these conference legends, all Heisman Trophy winners.
Now, a Nebraska option quarterback came close. Tommy Frazier ran second to Eddie George back in '95. Eric's quarterback coach, Turner Gill, gave it a run in '83. Eric's head coach knows what it's like to take hits as a slightly undersized ball carrier. Frank Solich, he's with Lee.
Coach, you were a Nebraska football player. Now you coach your school. What has Eric Crouch meant to the Nebraska football program on and off the field?
Well, Lee, he's been certainly a great representative for the University of Nebraska and everything that he's done. And certainly you look at his talent, and he's been exceptional, and he's done it for 3 years for us. And we literally put the ball in his hands to win football games, and he responded. And he did it in a manner that was just tremendous. And so as we look at Eric, what he's accomplished on and off the field, and we feel very fortunate that he came through the University of Nebraska system, and I feel fortunate to have coached him.
Well, Coach, you know, because of your offensive system, the quarterback takes a beating week in and week out. And now, Eric has never missed a snap because of an injury. Tell us about his courage and his toughness.
Well, he's got outstanding toughness, and that's one reason why we were able to build our offense around him. And it became very obvious early in Eric's career that you wanted to get him the ball. And as a quarterback, certainly you can do it through the air and where he's throwing to receivers, but we also wanted Eric to run the ball, and we built our offense around him, not only the option game, but the power game, where we'd have at times even the I-back leading Eric's way, and he responded with, in some games, as many as 25, 26 carries, and has been a guy that's been a big play guy for us throughout his career.
Kirk, you just love talking to these quarterbacks, don't you?
Yeah, this is nice this year. This is incredible. You grew up in the state of Nebraska, Omaha, Nebraska, where the Big Red is everything in the state. You dreamed of one day being the quarterback. If I would have sat you down 10 or 15 years ago and said, you know what, not only are you going to be the quarterback in Nebraska for 3 or 4 years, you're going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the history of that school, and you're going to be sitting in this chair tonight. What would you have said?
Well, I don't think I would have believed you at all. I think I would have just kind of smiled and said, all right, get out of here. There's no way. You know,
Yeah.
But, you know, I've been fortunate to be in the position that I'm in, and it's just not taken what I've done. It's taken everyone that surrounds me to help me. I've always been a team player, but I've put a lot of hard work into it, and I think that's what's got me to where I'm at.
You also have such an appreciation for your mom. She sacrificed quite a bit early in your life. How much has she meant to you as far as courage and work ethic?
Well, definitely the biggest role model in my entire life, and she's meant a lot to me. I think, you know, she's definitely showed me pretty much how to live your life. And you take football and you just push it out of the equation, and she's taught me those values. But then you put football back in it, and I've taken those values and I put it into the game of football.
Feel like this is a dream?
Oh, this is a dream come true in a lot of ways, and just to be here with some of the other athletes is just an honor in itself.
Good luck.
All right, thank you very much.
Chris?
I wonder at this second if Eric's more keyed up about this award, perhaps, or the result of that LSU-Tennessee game that dictates where Nebraska might go for the Rose Bowl. Now, to borrow the title of Broadway's Smash, these four are the producers, 4 great seasons, but when you come back, only one name will be read. One quarterback becomes forever a Heisman Trophy winner right after this. Well, we hope you've enjoyed hearing a little bit more about the journeys of all 4 Heisman Trophy finalists, but now it is the moment of truth, a very important handoff in this college football season, the 67th winner of the Heisman Trophy, the president now of the Downtown Athletic Club, Mr. Jim Corcoran, with the announcement.
Thank you, Chris. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As the new president of the Downtown Athletic Club, it is an honor to be here tonight. I first would like to thank the Marriott Marquis for hosting this special event. I'd like to thank ESPN for broadcasting the show. And I'd like to give a special thanks to all the American servicemen and women around the country for watching. Thank you. I'd like to thank our sponsors, American Suzuki Motor Corporation, Wendy's, Continental Airlines, U.S. Postal Service, Group 1 Trading, and the Sporting News Radio Network. The sports group for marketers, the Heisman Committee members, the DAC employees, and especially Rudy Riska. Thank you very much. The special thanks goes to the 924 electors across the country for their continued diligence in helping select the College Football Player of the Year. On a sad note, I'd like to offer my condolences to all the family members of the Downtown Athletic Club. We lost 11 that day on September 11th. There were some close friends, and they will be sorely missed. Yes, the club has had had been dramatically affected by these tragic events, but like America, we will go on. And whether the DAC stays or moves, know for sure that the Heisman Trophy and all it stands for will remain a bright... will remain as bright an example of excellence in this century as it was in the last. The former winners will tell you that the college football was the greatest time in their life. The camaraderie, the lasting friendships, the teamwork, the tradition, and playing for championships. The Heisman represents all these qualities. It exemplifies excellence and leadership. So for all those kids out there wanting to play college football someday, follow your dreams and share them with family and friends. Our 4 finalists are role models for today's youth. Their hard work, their dedication, and their positive attitude has helped them reach their goals and bring them to New York City this evening. Over the last 100 years of college football and all the great games that have been played, there have been only 66 winners and soon to be 67. It is the most prestigious award in sports. It gives me great honor to announce this year's winner of the 2001 Heisman Memorial Trophy. And the winner is Eric Crouch, University of Nebraska.
Well, it's quite an honor to be up here today, and you know, I'm lost for words, but the first thing that I want to do, I just want to thank God for making this possible. Without him, I don't know where I'd be right now. I also want to thank my family, first and foremost my mother, who has given me the strength and the courage and everything to be able to be here today, and the qualities to be able to be the type of player and the type of person that I am. I want to thank my father, his wife Marlene. I also want to thank my mother's husband Corey for just the support that they have and everything that they've helped me do. I just want to let them know that anything that I've done wasn't just because of myself, it was because of the help from them. And I also want to thank my girlfriend Nikki and my brother Kyle and my sister Michaela for just the support that they've given me. It's just been fantastic to be able to come home and see what type of people they are and what type of reflections they have on life and the support that I get from them. And so it's been a great thing and breathtaking in a lot of ways. I also want to thank my mentor, Jim Brown, who has been just a great guy, and he has given me a lot of advice over the years, and without him, you know, there would be a lot of question marks in my mind at this point. I also want to thank the other athletes. Any one of these guys are very deserving of this award, and I've just been honored to be here with each and every one of you guys. You know, down to the minute, this has been the most anticipated thing in my life, and so I just want to thank them personally for giving me this opportunity in the last 3 or 4 days. They've been the greatest people to be around, and I've enjoyed myself greatly. I also want to thank Wendy's for the sponsor and everything that they've done in making this whole thing possible. And I just want to say that I'm so excited to be a part of this elite group of players. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you very much.
Eric. The margin was 62 points. Eric Crouch over Rex Grossman. It's the fourth narrowest margin in Heisman history. Regions were very important. The 6 Heisman voting regions won by 5 different players. One region, Eric Crouch, the Southwest, providing a lot of strength. He's the first Heisman winner in 40 years since Ernie Davis to win just one region, but the strength throughout those 6 regions carried Eric Crouch to the Heisman Trophy. Were you a little bit afraid that it had slipped away in Boulder, Colorado after that game?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I think initially, right when that game was over with, I think people wrote me off as not being in contention. But then after things settled down, I think people realized what had happened in that game, and that I did everything possible to bring my team back to victory. And obviously that didn't happen, but you know, I was just given an opportunity to be here today, and I'm thankful for that.
Your daughter's too young to know that her dad did something pretty special tonight, but someday she'll appreciate it. When do you think you'll begin to appreciate this?
Well, you know, I already have, just by being up here and being surrounded by some of the greatest people ever to play college football. And that's going to sink in here pretty quick, but I don't know how fast.
The way your week is going so far, LSU might upset Tennessee and you might end a season in the Rose Bowl. That would really be a dream come true. Congratulations, Eric Crouch, Nebraska's senior quarterback, the 67th winner of the Heisman Memorial Trophy. A final salute to all 4 of our Heisman Trophy finalists for 2001. For Lee Corso, Kirk Herbstreit, Michelle Tafoya, and all of us at ESPN, thank you for watching. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Eric Crouch for Heisman Trophy winner.